Okay, so I've had a lot of requests asking me to do videos for my collection of Nintendo 64 games. Whilst I don't have a complete collection at the moment, I do have an absolutely pretty vast collection, so I'm going to do some videos and just show you my collection, and I'll also make updates as I add to it as well. Just before I begin, every single Nintendo 64 game that I've got is complete in box. It's also got everything inside it, so it's got all the manuals, the cartridge, the inlay, and I also put them in box protectors as well. So let's start off with part 1 of my collection. So the first game is Episode 1 Racer. This was a pretty cool game, this one. It was kind of everywhere, so it's really cheap to pick up, especially second hand. Again, box complete versions of this one do go for pretty cheap, only about £10 or about $10. It is a good racing game. It was kind of overshadowed because there were a lot of other great racing games on the Nintendo 64. But the nice addition of this one was being able to upgrade and sort of customise your races as well. It really made it kind of stand out from a lot of the other racing games. Another racing game is Lamborghini. Again, not a great game, this one. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm still not a big fan of it. But again, it's kind of a nice one to have part of the collection. It's kind of like an arcade style racer. Naturally featuring Lamborghini cars in there. Now a big one. Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Again, this one was a fantastic game. I don't really think I can say anything about this game that hasn't already been said. Huge game, absolutely tons to do in there, lots to see. Probably one of the biggest adventure games that you can get on the Nintendo 64. Loads of nice features, the graphics were amazing, the music was perfect. It's just a timeless classic, so that's all I can say about that one. One of my favourite games is Snowboard Kids. Again, great memories of playing this one with my family. My dad, my brother, my sister, we always used to play this game. It was one of the ones that we'd all get round together, plug all the extra controllers in and play this one. Again, there was a sequel for it, which was only released in Australia of all places. That's probably one of the most expensive Nintendo 64 games to try and buy now. There are extremely limited copies, and coming up in complete condition is really rare. But this original one's not too hard to find. You can get it for good prices. But again, it's just a whole great, little fun game to play. I would have liked more levels in it, but I guess that's what sequel's for. And there's also a version that came out on the PlayStation, which was Snowboard Kids Plus. Again, same game, just some new features on there, but I still prefer the original one. World Cup 98, football game obviously on this one, based around the World Cup in 1998. Fairly average game. The thing you kind of find with a lot of the Nintendo 64 games, especially the football ones, is that any time a big event would come up, they would release, a special sort of version that had less features than, the main series. So this one's okay. If you want a better football game, International Superstar Soccer is the one that you want to be looking for. Diddy Kong Racing, great game this one. I never actually bought this game, well this copy I did, but when I originally had it, my sister borrowed it from some kids that she was babysitting, and as soon as I played it, me and my brother were just addicted to it, and there's so many tracks. The adventure mode is what really made it stand out, because it's completely different than anything that you get in Mario Kart 64. Gives it a little bit more of a story to it as well. 2 characters to unlock. I did unlock both of them on the original cartridge that I had. I haven't quite got around to unlocking them on this version that I've got here with me now. But again, fantastic game. It's kind of the quality that you'd expect from Rareware. They used to make great games for Nintendo 64, and this is one of them. Next one's a bit of a controversial one. This one's Perfect Dark. GoldenEye was a better game, to be honest. I think everybody would agree with that one. Perfect Dark was a good game. The graphics were really nice. It used the expansion packs. You could get the high resolution graphics on it as well. But something just wasn't as fun as playing GoldenEye. I think the games had kind of moved on a little bit by then, so when this came out, even though it was a great game, there was nothing sort of as groundbreaking and as unique as you'd find on GoldenEye. The multiplayer was good, the story campaign, and the story's a little bit all over the place, but still a fun game to play, but definitely not as good as GoldenEye. F-Zero X, I've already done a review of this one. If you check out my channel, you can see my review for these, and again, some of the games that I've just been talking about are games that I will be doing reviews of over the next couple of months. F-Zero X, a great Nintendo game. It's Nintendo's signature racing franchise. There's obviously the version on the Super Nintendo that came out before this one, and there was the F-Zero GX that came out on the GameCube after this one. This is the best version of F-Zero X. Everyone's got their own opinions on that, but in my opinion this is the best one. This was the first game to run at, first racing game to run at a constant 60 frames per second, which, if you remember the hardware and the power of the Nintendo 64, is a great sort of challenge to do that. Also 30 racers on screen at the same time. You can battle them, even though it's a pretty much pure racing game. You can still, take them off the track and blow up the other cars. So a really nice addition to that. Another thing with this one as well was the X Cup. So once you completed all the main 3 cups, you unlock the X Cup, whereby it would randomly generate new tracks every time you played it. So you can never get tired of this game. Really great, loads of races to unlock, a lot of fun. Fighters Destiny, not the best fighting game on Nintendo 64, but the Nintendo 64 wasn't the best console for fighting games, to be honest. This one was a little bit different than most sort of fighting games. If you look at most fighting games like Street Fighter and so on, Mortal Kombat, the aim is just to beat your opponent's life bar down, to win the round. With Fighters Destiny, it would be on a point system, so you score points for either taking their energy down, but you could also knock them out of the arena, take them down to the ground, score points, and that's how you'd win. So it's kind of like a karate style game. There was a sequel, but this is pretty average, to be honest, not one of the best games on Nintendo 64. Now we're going to finish off this segment anyway with a really rare one. This one's Mystical Ninja 2 starring Goemon. I had this when it originally came out. It was one of the games that me and my brother got because we played the original, which was the 3D adventure game. We'd never really heard much about this game, even though we used to buy all the magazines to see the games that were coming out, so it kind of came out of nowhere for us. We got the game and we absolutely loved it. It's a really great game. It's a really solid 2D platformer, and I think that's why it didn't sell as well as the original one, because the original one was the 3D adventure game, and I think a lot of people bought that because they were trying to fill the gap until Ocarina of Time came out. This game in box complete condition is quite rare to get hold of. It's one of the rarer games on Nintendo 64. In this sort of condition, you'd be looking at paying around sort of £60 or so. If you get a US NTSC copy, you can get it for around, I think it goes for about $70 to $100 depending on condition. It's a lot of fun. It's got a great 2-player co-op mode, so you can both play at the same time, and sort of assist each other through the levels. All of the characters from the original Mystical Ninja 1 game are still in here, but this one's a 2D side-scrolling platformer, whereas the original was the 3D adventure game. So that's the end of part 1, and join me again soon. Like I said, if you can put some comments below, let me know which of those games you liked, which ones you'd like to see me do reviews of, and also if you click the like button if you like this video, and I'll be back soon with another episode showing you some of my collection. Thanks very much.